Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, and also our guy, Rob Watson. First time appearing on the show. Rob, welcome in, my brother.
What is going on, guys? Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Jack, Nick, how we doing today?
Doing pretty well. You know, it's early. I know it's been a auto.
Got out of the way.
Yeah, out of the way early. Best way to do it. Nick, I know it's been a bit of a slower morning for you so far. But I'm doing well. I'm ready to go. Big show today. We got the Masters starting. Guards find another crazy way to win a ball game. Joshua Block almost went to Dubai. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah. How about World of T-shirts, man?
Yeah.
I've had a rough morning. I think I'm just like the tank is nearing E. I think is really what it is. And I woke up today and I just looked outside and I was just like, is today really happening? Did I really wake up? But it's another episode of the Big Factor. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get through it. World of T-shirts banned from Dubai. That's really what I want to talk about. The Masters, who really cares?
Let's just skip through the first four
follow
segments,
golf.
yeah.
Luka went off against the friggin' Mavericks. We knew that was going to happen. What else are we supposed to be talking about? Around the AL Central, worst division in baseball.
All right, let's go.
We got to get the vibes a little bit higher in here. This is kind of crazy right now. It's Thursday.
No, just wait till we get to spicy mustard. That will wake Nick up. Whenever we get to that portion of the show.
I didn't realize that was
Friday.
on here.
It's on here. Don't worry.
All right, we're
It's
back.
Friday Junior, so we have to get hype right now. We start talking about the NBA. Luka Doncic, 45-8-6 in his return to Dallas. We all saw the video tribute they played. Luka said after that video, I was like, there's no way I'm playing this game. So many emotions. Wow. I just went out there and played basketball. It was an amazing experience. The fans, the way they accepted me, the way they cheered for me, it was just unbelievable. Rob, I want to start with you here. You're a big basketball head. Luka locked in for this one, and it seemed like he was on a mission.
I mean, if you really know anything about basketball or have just half a brain, you knew Luka Doncic was going to go for at least 35 points last night. He comes out. Jack's talking about it. He's giving them the hands. They're throwing him towels. He's crying pregame, and he comes out, and next thing you know, he's banging threes, and he's just holding the follow-through, staring in people's souls, talking trash just like Luka always does. I mean, honestly, this is going to go down as one of the worst moves in NBA history. I think Anthony Davis had 12 points last night. He's already had one of his injuries, probably going to have another one next year. I mean, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, I feel awful for you.
Yeah, dude, they're in the mud. And I mean, I thought too, to do the tribute video for Luka, you guys traded him and he didn't want to leave, So, of course, I mean, he was bawling his eyes out on the bench before the game even started. So for him to kind of put the emotions aside and then go scorched earth on his old team, it just shows how good he is. And that move never made sense when it happened. They tried to make sense of it when they called him fat. It immediately didn't make sense when you saw Luka and LeBron could work together, and it'll be something that'll just never make any sense as to why they did that.
That's what I wanted to ask Rob. You played college basketball, obviously at a higher level than any of us. Was Luka fat, or was this overhyped?
Dude, I mean, they talk about that with players. He came in, he had the injury thing, so there was some limitations with him getting into full game shape.
It made it seem like he was obese.
No, and that's that's part of his
Daniel
game
Vogelbach.
too, is that he's a little heftier, so he could bump you, and he's never this guy that needs to be when he was ripped, it was a different guy, he was a different player, but at his best is when he's using his body to get to those positions, to use that amazing touch to get right on the block and just get everyone in foul trouble, get to the line and get and ones. He was never out of shape. He was never obese. It wasn't the hardened fat suit situation. They were coping. I don't know what they were doing.
Let me ask you guys this. Has there ever been a human being who probably had a worse night than Nico, I forget his last name, last night, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks?
Dude.
No, probably not.
I mean, there's about 18,000 people in that building, and everyone is mad at you.
Me and Matt were talking about this. So is Nico Harrison canned after this year? Without a doubt, is he canned?
Absolutely, right?
But here's the thing. Does ownership have to do the thing where, we're going to stand by this guy? Because it was such a controversial, if they fire him, because the season's about to be over. So if they fire him in 10 days, does that look even worse? Is that an even worse black eye on the entire organization? Because it's hey, we're kind of confessing that this guy did pull the most boneheaded trade. in NBA history, or do they have to do the thing where they fake stand by him for like a year and a half and then fire him then?
The AB and Jimmy type thing, in
I
a way.
think it's closer to that than people might realize. I don't think he was dumb enough to do that. I could be completely wrong, but I think it was one of those things where he was kind of forced. They were like, we're sick of Luka. Make a deal. So now if they fire him, he's kind of just the fall guy, which still could happen because I don't think they understood the backlash that was going to come with this. But
my thing, though, is like if the Denver Nuggets are going to clean house on their head coach and GM when they're in a great playoff spot a couple of days before the playoffs. I mean, yeah, we were down at the Thirsty Parrot for the home opener, so it kind of got swept under the rug. But if they're in a playoff position, they had a parade down the middle of the city a couple of years ago. You got to think trading a superstar is enough to get you fired.
I'll let whoever chime in. I mean, where does this rank amongst the worst trades in NBA history? I mean, we can translate it to other sports if we want. We know damn well about really bad trades here in Cleveland, but where does this rank amongst the worst trades in NBA?
Only one I'll fight you on is like the whole Pearson KG off to the Nets for what would then become, wasn't it, Tatum and Brown?
So that's what we got to figure out is like
there's some
how
bad
does
ones.
yeah
though.
there are some really bad ones. We got to figure out like what do these Luka led Lakers become? And also, what does the Anthony Davis-led Mavericks become? I know that one is probably a little bit more difficult to figure out because the Lakers are currently kind of jockeying for a top seed in the Western Conference. I think we've really got to see it. It sucks too. They only got like one pick, so it's not like you're gonna get the ransom that was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum out of that. It's definitely recency bias, but right now I'm going to say that this was the worst trade in NBA history just because it came out of nowhere. It seems so unnecessary, and I still can't make sense of it months after it happened.
I think what also makes it worse is that I don't think he was ever going to leave Dallas.
No,
if you saw how emotional he was last night, like you had a guy that was going to be a top 3 player every year. He was never going to go. He takes you to the finals. You have Kyrie Irving. You guys got young bigs. You got Derek Lively, PJ Washington making a upcoming in his career, and then you just get rid of him for just an aging star with injury problems.
Let me say in trades, because I think this trade didn't win the Cavs a title because there's lots of pieces that were involved in, including LeBron James, but Jarrett Jack for Baron Davis and the pick that became Kyrie Irving isn't a bad one either.
Yeah.
There's some
Home cooking there, though.
I'm trying to remember, what did the Hornets made an offer? It was like Vlade Divac for Kobe Bryant. Like if you go back, there's some really bad
that one
draft
was
day
bad.
trades.
The one that you were talking about, Jack, like I'll even give the Nets a pass on the Brown Tatum thing because they thought, and again, it was dumb, and everybody at the time kind of also knew that it was dumb, but you could at least rationalize with them that it was a newer franchise. They were trying to take proven NBA stars, albeit well past their prime, and Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, put them in Nets uniforms, get fan buy-in. Like I can't even justify this Luka thing at all.
Yeah,
Still.
there was a lot more hype around that Nets team because they still had Darren Williams before he fell off and Joe Johnson.
Olympic roster Darren Williams, by the way.
Philosophically, because I think if you bring up that point about the Nets, which I think you're right about, in a way, you could kind of say the same thing from a sports perspective about the Browns trading for Deshaun Watson. Which one sports involved is worse, do you think, if you're taking outside what's going on with Deshaun?
I mean, it's easier to recover from the Luka trade, I would say, than it is for the Browns. I don't know if you guys agree
That's
with
how
that.
bad the trade was.
Hindsight is real 2020. I mean, Dallas also at least got a player back.
And
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to rebuild in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally, if you draft and I'm not saying there's
Shouldn't be, though.
yeah.
Traditionally, it should be easier to rebuild in the NFL. Most teams, it's easier to rebuild in the NFL. This organization has had a really hard time doing it. But for the most part, you see teams that go from bottom of the barrel to at least fringe wild card contender, playoff contender within 2 seasons. Look at the Cavs. You know, it's taken them a decade since they won the 2016 championship to get back to this
The difference, too, is you
form.
can also, in the NBA, you can build your team in free agency. You can't do that in the NFL.
Correct.
Like you can supplement through free agency, but we've seen the Browns. I mean, the free agency, it's nice when you get guys like Amari Cooper. The Jerry Jeudy works out. I know you traded for him; it wasn't necessarily free agency, but like you can't build through free agency in the NFL. It just won't work. You need young talent, but in the NBA, you can just throw out checks and build a super team.
With the NBA too, there's a degree of luck, I feel like, because you can the fact that it's 60 players versus I don't know the exact amount that are drafted in the NFL, but you're getting like the top guys. You're getting
250, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could hit on a guy in like pick 22 that's turning into an all-star or a superstar. But it's also luck because you could be the worst team in the league and then you won't even get the best player or the number one pick in the draft based on those lottery balls. So, I mean, it's iffy.
Yeah. And how many guys in the top 5? You know, even if the lottery balls do play your way, how many times do we see guys in the top 5, top 10 especially, were like good players, NBA role players, sure, but not like bona fide turn your franchise around superstars. Whereas in the top of the NFL draft, like we're talking a ton of draft this year, draft two weeks away, by the way. I mean, you're looking at the top 5 of that and being like, these are all 5 players that should turn franchises around. So
even like Sexton and Okoro were both top 8 picks, right?
I think it was a Okoro top 5.
Okoro's a
Okoro
top 5
top
pick.
5.
That is correct.
Okoro
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Bad draft though. I think
that
we
was a
should give the
horrible
asterisk.
draft.
Yeah, we'll give the asterisk to the
There-
Cavs.
There's been some weak NBA drafts. That Bennett draft was nasty. But then again, Giannis was like pick 15.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of a crapshoot with basketball at times.
Then Jokic during the chalupa meal.
Yeah, during the Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, before we go to the guards, I want to talk about the Cavs and what we kind of expect as we're getting real close to the NBA playoffs. Haven't had a chance to talk to Rob about it. We'll do that when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, joined by Rob Watson today. Before we talk about the Cavaliers, I got to tell you about our great friends at Fairway Ford, Ohio. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealer. You see, every month is truck month. They're up to $8,000 off your ride. Low is 1.9% APRs. It's a short drive to Canfield. It's worth all the thousands of dollars that you guys are going to save. Check them out. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, same hometown level of service. Go visit them, fairwayfordohio.com. Again, that's fairwayfordohio.com. All right, guys, I want to talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers. Locked up the #1 seed, Rob. I haven't really had to talk ball with you. Had a chance. So glad you're back. What's your favorite thing about this Cavs team, man?
Honestly, the depth. I mean, it's such an advantage in basketball when you know that you're not losing slack on those first substitutions. I mean, we're bringing in, you got like 2 guys off the bench that could be starters anywhere else, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter. I love the fact that we made that move this year, and I think that's the difference that's really helped us. Obviously, besides Kenny Atkinson introducing a new system, helping us unlock Evan Mobley. I would say, though, what really separates us from other teams is bringing those 2 guys off the bench as first subs.
Would you be shocked if we see anything other in this playoffs than a Cavs-Celtics Eastern Conference Finals?
You know, that would be so disappointing if we didn't get there. I feel like that's the bare minimum for this team and this season we've had. You know, it's been a slow grind with this team. We've seen some playoff failures, some letdowns. We get a tough win last year against Orlando, but it's really time to take that next step in a playoffs where I feel like it's going to be the most open it will be for the next couple years to have a shot to get to a championship and possibly win it.
Do we think that if the Cavs get to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, let's say you lose, let's say you lose in 5 games, 6 games, are we going to then look at this season as a disappointment?
It's one of those things where I'd have to watch the games. You know, if we're putting up a fight, like there's a lot of factors. We could have some questionable calls, how we handle it, how do we make adjustments, do we lay down? It's a lot of those things. If it's like a 6-7 game series, I feel like it's rough, but you look at it faithfully. 5 games, I'm wondering, because then we had home court, so I want to know how that really went down. But a loss in the conference finals is the bare minimum for me to say it was still a success.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Would you guys say the Celtics roster is still better than the Cavs roster?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying it because it's a proven like that's an NBA championship roster. They're the champs for a reason. Until they're not the champs anymore, you have to kind of give them that respect, is the way that I've always looked at it. Brown and Tatum and that pairing had gotten so much scrutiny over the couple of seasons before they finally won the championship, and which one of those guys were really Batman and which one was Robin. Like, the national media had such a fun time with that, but then they won the championship, and you can't really hate on it. They have earned that respect, and the Cavs have not. So I'm with Rob. Like, I think anything, and that's very high expectations as well, by the way. Like, can we just put out there, like, it's not easy to make it to the NBA Eastern Conference Championship. Like, the NBA playoffs are hard. 7-game series are hard. Weird things happen. Like, took the Cavs 7 games to get past the Magic last year, and I don't think anybody this time last year saw that series being as difficult as it was. So it's a long season for a reason, and it all comes down to the playoffs. And we knew that going into this Cavs season was that the regular season didn't really matter, and it's what this team does in the postseason is how we'll judge the core four. It's how we'll judge Kenny Atkinson as head coach. So excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the expectation, though. If you lose to the Celtics in the semis last year, you don't really make any moves on your roster, if any. I think one of 3 teams did not pick up a free agent. You said, okay, the coach is the problem. You went and got Kenny Atkinson. You expect to step up in the playoffs, and a step up would be to going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I agree with you guys. Anything less than it has to be looked at as a disappointment. You don't just win 60 games here and go out in the second round of the playoffs.
And two, just the way that the bracket shakes out, like, you're going to be on the opposite side of the Celtics and probably the Knicks before. And by the way, the Knicks are 0-9 in the regular season against the top teams in the East, the Cavs and Boston. Like, it would be like there's no two ways about it. Like, if you go out there and get beat in the first round by a play-in team, grounds for shaking some things up, and losing in the second round as well would be a massive disappointment, kind of regardless of, and maybe, like, obviously we're all homers and we're all Cavs fans, but you look at these teams top down and you factor in the things that matter in the playoffs. Like, this Cavs team is the same crew that, for the most part, same core four that went out there and lost 2 years ago to the Knicks. They improved on that, and they were able to get a playoff series victory last season. Like, you look at the progress, like, this is the year to continue to make that next step. And if they don't, then yeah, people will have the right to be upset and disappointed.
I actually I got a question for you guys. Who would you rather see in the second round? As it stands right now, that matchup would be either Indiana or Milwaukee. Personally, I'd rather see
Milwaukee,
Indiana.
right?
That's tough. Is Dame Lillard fully healthy?
He's out for the year, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he's it's
I
like
thought he was
out
for the year.
indefinitely type thing.
Oh.
So out until he gets better type. It could be soon, but there hasn't really been an update. I think I would rather have Milwaukee.
I think
the way
I
the
would have
Pacers score
Milwaukee
too,
too.
dude. Like, just let's not get attract me. I
They
don't like
play
those
us
things.
rough. I'm just always the guy where when the best player in the series will be on the other team, it starts to become a toss-up.
that's true.
And
That's true.
So I mean, I would rather see Tyrese than Giannis, but the Pacers are a tough team. It won't be an easy road, but I'm looking to see this team, prove that those 60 wins weren't fluke. I don't want to be the team that gets to the playoffs again.
And
it all
in
just
theory,
goes
you
away.
look at either of those matchups, right, in the second round, Cavs Pacers, Cavs Bucks. Nationally, the Cavs would be the favorite in both of them. Like, you're the better team than both of those teams. And, like, while it will be a difficult series, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Like, you can't go out there and lose that, though, still.
Who would you guys rather play in the first round? Would you rather play the Magic or the Hawks?
The Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls.
that's
are
the
Yeah,
easy
I know.
one.
I'm just messing around.
Bulls are
Orlando.
the question I would want.
Orlando's just battered by injuries.
I would take the Magic.
And I
don't
think
wanna
there's
play
something to
Trae
be
Young.
said, like, I think this team especially is a lot of like a collection of guys who love basketball, take basketball seriously and also personally. So I think they heard some of the chatter that they were kind of too soft last year and that the Magic gave them such a series. Like, I think they would have it in the back of their mind, like, let's make quick work of these guys.
Different team this year too.
Rob and I were just talking about this. I think it was yesterday, I believe. But the one reason I want to avoid the Atlanta Hawks too, it's not a rational reason whatsoever. But if there's one time that George Niang and Karis LeVert would pull out just like the playoff series of their careers, as Cleveland fans, you do know that it would come against us. So that is something to keep in the back of your head. A little Harrison Bader type run.
All right, we got to take another break. When we get back, White Sox need a new stretching coach. Honestly, they really could have won that game if a dude didn't pull his hamstring.
Bob
And a
Wiley, we're
broken-
talking about stretching.
and a broken ankle,
They were
by the way,
stretching
to top
before
it all
World
off.
War II.
Are we
Broke his
officially worried about Emmanuel Clase? Maybe, maybe not. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, and joined today by Rob Watson. I told you about Fairway Forward. I got to tell you about our great friends over at Garage Beer as well, guys. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, classic light lager and lime. You can see at the top of the screen there. No frills, no bitterness, none of that IPA taste. It's just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell Garage Beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. The Guardians get a win by the skin of their teeth.
Again.
Guys, something is up with Emmanuel Clase. I don't know exactly what it is. The cutters ain't cutting. They're tagging him is really what they're doing. And really, the White Sox should have went into extra innings or at least to the bottom of the 9th if a dude didn't pull his hamstring and pull up halfway between third and home.
Can we please just play the Chicago White Sox every game? Like 2-0 against the White Sox and 2-0 with the most hilarious endings of all time. Mike Clevenger walking in a run for a walk-off victory, and then the pulled hamstring walk-off arguably was even funnier, and obviously they had 2 big injuries yesterday, so you hope for those guys that they're good, but just the Chicago White Sox find new ways to be the most inept team, probably not just in baseball, but in professional sports. And Emmanuel Clase, can we try putting him in rice? I mean, he's broken. He's completely broken. He's got water inside of him. He's got fog in his brain. It seems like when he goes out there, it's just a shell of his former self and what we saw last year. I don't know if he has the yips. I don't know if his stuff is starting to go really quickly. I'm not a pitcher, so I can't diagnose exactly what it is, but he's broken. And there's only so many times that he can continue to pull these Houdini acts where he gets himself into deep, deep crap and still find a way to get a guard's W at the end of it. Like, eventually this shakiness out of your closer comes back to bite you in a 162-game season. It's only a matter of time until we're sitting here doing a Big Factor, talking about a blown Emmanuel Clase save or a stretch of days where he blew a couple of saves, and people are going to get fed up with that really quickly because this is a trend that's not new. This is a trend that started in the Detroit series last year, showed its ugly head again against the Yankees, and now into the 2025 campaign. For all the people that, and I do believe in baseball, April's overreaction month, but I think this is one that deserves a little bit of a reaction.
The worst part is, and I guess the most scary part is, you go back to the Angels game. It wasn't a high-pressure situation. It wasn't a save situation. Still gave up 2 runs. And I understand this most recent one against the White Sox was technically a high-leverage save situation, but it's the White Sox. He's been put in now 2 back-to-back positions where I don't think the pressure would be all that great, and he hasn't looked great.
Yeah, I'm still gonna come out and say I'm 0 out of 10 worried about Emmanuel Clase.
I don't know how you can be zero.
Zero. Yeah,
But
like
it's so. I mean,
he's
it's just
getting
so early,
straight
man.
tagged. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not like it's not like they're just getting lucky. They're tagging him up, man.
And,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that
they're
happens, though,
consistently
sometimes in
barrels to
baseball.
ball.
and right out the gate, like first batter,
Yeah.
seeing the ball incredibly well. And this is the Chicago White Sox
No
and the Los
teams-
Angeles Angels we're talking about.
they don't seem scared like they did last year to go against Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
think
it might be the opposite.
Yeah, they're like bring him on.
Do you think he's figured out, or do you think it's a confidence thing
I don't
with
know
him?
if you can figure a guy out like that because it wasn't necessarily his stuff is nasty, but his stuff was always I'm going to throw it right at you and I'm just that good you can't touch it.
Yeah, I'm still not going to say I'm not worried at all. I mean, he's a guy who's going to rely on his cutter. Anyone who knows stuff about a cutter, you need it to be a little bit warm outside for a cutter to work and spin and get going. And that's not like it's not been an issue at times in the past. So, like, yeah, it's not like he's always slow in April like Carlos Santana besides this year. But, yeah, man, I mean, like, look at the 07 Tribe that went to the ALCS, was up 3-1 on the Red Sox, and just fell short of going to the World Series. Joe Borowski was our closer, who was way, way worse than Emmanuel Clase in terms of stuff. The guy had an above 5 ERA, but still had 50 saves that season. Like in baseball, like it's so tough to look at like ERAs and whips early on. Like when you pitch one inning and it's still so early in the year, like one bad performance can screw up a guy's everything until the middle of April or even into May. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, is it good? No, it's definitely not good. But like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that now when he like it's just too early, man. Like if he's got 5 blown saves on May 10th, like yeah, let's talk about it. But I don't know, like I've watched the guy a couple years in a row just go out there and be so dominant. He's the franchise leader in closers. It's almost like I need to see it fully fall off because it's like a closer. It's such a pass-fail system because it is pass-fail. You either blow it or you don't, you know. But I don't know. You got to let the guy have a little bit of time. I think he's going to be okay.
More than likely, I think we'll be coming in a couple of weeks and talking about how he looks better. But it is worrisome, the fact that this isn't something that just popped up at the beginning of the season, like Nick, you alluded to, the playoffs. That's where it started. And I'm not sure there's a position on the field that you need more confidence to be than a closing pitcher. And it's clearly bled into the beginning of this season. And like I mentioned, now too, I wouldn't think of opportunities where you'd be so worried. But it seems like just something's clearly off.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say, I do love that Stephen Vogt continues to pitch him.
Yep.
Because it's
Absolutely.
162.
You
You
have to.
absolutely have to. Like, while the fans have every right to be worried because that's what fans do and because he hasn't given us much of a reason to be anything but a little bit concerned, hell of a job by the manager of the year to continue to stick with his gun, his biggest gun, and the reason why they made it so far last season and keep pitching him because the only way past this is through this and just shutting down Clase for like a week or 2 weeks.
That's
I don't
exactly
think
what-
is going to do anything.
That's exactly where I was going, believe it or not, Nick, is I'm going to say that's one thing that elbow soreness is typically what we like to call it when a pitcher is struggling and needs a little bit of a break. So what I was going to say is not right now. Like I'm not saying right now, jet him down I-71, I'll take him. But you got to, if this goes on for 2 or 3 more weeks, like maybe you do see an elbow soreness, a little week off, have a couple drinks, calm yourself down, be okay. Hey, we'll send you down to Columbus for a week. After that, just work on your pitches and we'll see where you're at. But I don't think we're even going to be talking about Cade Smith as the closer conversation until July.
All right, well, winner we know is spicy mustard. I don't know if we're a spicy mustard show, to be honest.
No, we're
No!
not. We established this yesterday.
So I understand they put out the tweet that Guardians are 2-0 since they revealed spicy mustard. Is spicy mustard herself 2-0 in the Derby race as well?
Yes.
So
But-
it's totally fixed.
I mean, I said yesterday.
Wait, are the hot dog races fixed?
I've never been one to allege anything nefarious of the Sugardale Hot Dog Derby. A little fishy that you roll out spicy mustard and immediately go 2-0. I can't get over that like the vitriol when that thing was announced. Like the fact that the fans booed it is still so funny to me. And this, is it gonna win every race this year? Can we? It can't, because if so, the Sugardale Hot Dog Derby is nothing but the Harlem Globetrotters at that point.
You're right. And you know what was nefarious about it, too? It's how they always show beforehand the poll of who the fans are voting for, right? And so from the start, you had the 3. Then out of nowhere, Spicy Mustard pops up, and all these late votes start coming in for Spicy Mustard that no one saw the whole entire time. You know, and then out of nowhere, Spicy Mustard steals the hot dog race. You know, like it's BS.
Yeah, it is. It's a stolen election. They're still counting votes.
Stop the count, okay? We have 3 hot dogs. Stop the count.
Yeah. We haven't tallied all the votes. He could still win it. All right. This Spicy Mustard. It's horrible. The outfit's horrible. The whole I've never.
Yeah. Who's in charge of the costume design? I'm sorry.
Well, it used to be worse. They used to have no eyes, first of all. So they actually have improved in the last 10 years because those MFers used to run without any eyeballs. So that was really weird. But I hate this new. So it used to be a day and a time where it was like the little side act in the 5th inning that every single team has. Like the Washington Nationals have the presidents run around. The Pirates have pierogies run around, like that kind of stuff. And then one year when the Orioles like really sucked before they got Adley and Gunnar, they made this big deal about one of their things, like not winning the whole entire year was Relish, I believe.
Yep.
And people started showing up in Relish costumes and like, oh, we're a bad baseball team, but you come see Relish win, right? And then 2 years ago, we tried to do that with Mustard. And it's stupid.
I was
form a good baseball team, and people won't need to come for hot dogs.
I was there when Mustard won his first race.
I was too, actually.
And that was pandemonium because that was a proper build. Those races that year, ketchup and onion were just better than mustard.
They're handing
all
it
the
to
way
Spicy
through.
Mustard.
And he finally broke through and had his moment there at the end. Spicy Mustard on the onset, they're trying to make some sort of cult hero.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No.
It was booed opening
it's an
day.
industry plant.
If you get booed opening day, you're off to a horrible start. And then to come out 2-0, like Spicy Mustard is a heel in my view.
Oh, me too.
Jack, hear me out though. Okay, think of it like WWE, like he's a hero.
All right.
Could we eventually build Spicy Mustard into a hero? But it starts when
so you're saying
the Roman Reigns
and
arc,
clothesline him, yeah.
the Roman Reigns arc where it's like they're pushing you. They're like, you're supposed to love this guy.
Boo.
Or John Cena's the
No
guy,
one
the
wants it.
super
We
goody
pick
good.
who's gonna win.
When it's like, we didn't pick you.
Yeah.
We don't want you. And then one day they snap. And then it's this redemption arc. Now it's like, you know what? I don't care that everyone hates me. But then one day you love to build them up, tear them down, and then build them up again. That could be the story for Spicy Mustard.
Oh, so this is the plan because if we end up being like 70 and 80, like that's when you can roll out the if you have to.
Do we think we could get Spicy Mustard on the show?
Nope.
I
You
think
don't think there's any way?
I think
that boat sailed yesterday.
Yeah.
We could
I know the exact moment when it
When
sailed.
I
actually
compared
too.
We could
Spicy
have her
Mustard to
on.
Deshaun Watson tearing his
I think
his
the
Achilles.
anchor came out of the ground and the ship started
hear
rolling
me
back out.
Hear me out. We could have Spicy Mustard on to explain themselves.
I don't think they talk.
It
though.
doesn't talk.
But same thing with the frog. It has an interpreter.
Oh,
but who
or maybe
fu-
we could ask like Gab Cruz. Maybe she would know the hot dogs enough to get a word out of them.
Maybe that is possible.
Yeah, we can ask Gab.
That would be a hell of a guess.
It would be
would be.
Until
Joshua
that-
Block or Spicy Mustard in terms of.
Spicy Mustard.
until that happens, you could mark me firmly 10 toes down as out on Spicy Mustard. I hope this thing never wins over. Like whatever they're trying to do, WWE build up, have Spicy Mustard win every race. Once it gets back to normal, and it might take until 2026. I'm not picking Spicy Mustard to win a singular race.
We should go and boo it.
All 3 of the other hot dog ketchup, good. Mustard, good. Onion, good. I'm pulling for all 3 of the OGs against this evil empire that is Spicy Mustard.
This could be
Which
some
again
great long-term
isn't even
storytelling.
you can't even get spicy. It's ballpark.
It's
mustard.
stadium or ballpark.
mustard.
And I'm sure they could find Bertman's to slap a logo on it, like they do everywhere else in the stadium. It couldn't have been that hard to get the ad.
You're gonna be sick when Spicy Mustard wins Hot Dog Rookie of the Year. I'm just saying, like that's a shoe.
I'm gonna run out there and relish by myself before that thing wins Rookie of the Year.
We might have to go out to a game and just
Heckle.
terrorize it.
yeah.
Just get right there.
Just bring Spicy Mustard down, like a good couple of pegs. Like you start, like
It's Jose Ramirez city, not your city.
and especially in Major League Baseball, it's a league built on guys that have went through the minors and paid their dues.
Progress.
You come out, some 100-year box with Spicy Mustard and get booed on opening day. Nobody wants to see
Jose
that.
Ramirez fails at the plate 70% of the time, right? And he's going to be a Hall of Famer Spicy Mustard gets to come out, doesn't have to pay a single due.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
It's a little bit ridiculous. I guess it is what it is. They're trying.
How about
stuff up our
Carlos, though?
progressive field. I was gonna say before we move on, Jack. We don't need to go over the AL Central. We need to get to the Masters before we run out of time. But before we move on, is there anything you want to say to Paul Sewald?
Gosh, yeah, I'll issue an early season apology. And I could rescind this at any point in time, but I do feel that when you're wrong on the show, you gotta come up for it. I came at you a lot, Mr. Sewald, and guys had a strong start to the year. He's been getting guys to chase up on that high fastball a bit. Pitched 2 days in a row at home and was awesome. But with that as well, and the happiness that I will take for Paul Sewald, I would also like the city of Cleveland to give Logan T. Allen his props for his performance yesterday. Got the job done. 4 2/3, 1 run. That's it. He did his job, brother.
If that's his job.
Giving up 1 run, that is his job as a starting pitcher.
Yet still, Luis Ortiz, the only guy to make a quality start this entire season so far.
And we've now 2 games into the White Sox. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, we're talking about the Masters. Some people call it the greatest 4 days in sports. Jack, I'm going to ask you who you think is going to get the gold or green jacket.
Green jacket.
Green jacket. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factory on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. I'm going to try everything in my power to reach out to anybody and everybody. I want to get Spicy Mustard in studio. I'm with you guys. I'm not a big fan, but I don't want to judge too fast before I can understand their story.
I'm judging.
It's a mascot hot dog. It's not that deep.
I'm with you,
It is
Ryan.
that deep.
Gotta hear him out.
No,
Yeah.
I know the story. It was
Yeah.
it was in a lockbox for 100 years. Nobody had heard a thing
Did they
about
have
it
spicy
for-
mustard 100 years ago?
Yeah, nobody knew about this lockbox for 99 years and 8 months, and then all of a sudden, out comes spicy mustard. Opening day gets booed. I'm not pulling for this thing to win a singular race.
I kind of doubt that, actually. 100. I think they made that story up the more I think about it. Because what are the odds, like, they were fighting trench warfare in World War I, and they're putting spicy mustard on their sandwiches?
You think it was like Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Made up.
That's a conspiracy. By the way, where do we stand as a show on that?
Did not score 100 points. There's videos of him doing everything else.
I mean, I
besides that.
believe it, but I don't.
Why
for
is there
instance-
no footage? I've seen some stuff from like 1802 caught on a camera.
For instance, like, what's more impressive? Like Kobe's 81 in that era versus Wilt.
81 easy.
Yes.
Right. So I'm saying, like, it's
No, I
very,
mean, if you
I
actually-
could see it happening, but then again, yes, it's technically the record, but it's probably overblown.
Well, okay, but if he actually did score 100 points, though, I'm taking that over Kobe. No offense to Kobe.
No.
I mean, the guy who was guarding Wilt Chamberlain could have been better than Jalen Rose.
Nick
That's a
Padone was
possibility.
guarding Wilt Chamberlain when he
Correct.
scored 100 points.
Correct. They literally had like
And they were
full-time
quadruple
employees.
teaming Kobe
You
Bryant.
think the guy on him was taller than me?
No. No.
And
you
I
could
don't-
probably beat him in one-on-one. If
Dude,
it
I
took
could have been
you
like
to.
Bob Cousy, probably.
Yeah, probably. He only dribbled with one hand.
Me too.
Don't believe that it happened. I don't think.
I think it happened.
There's no foot. How's there no footage or radio call?
And there's like stuff before and after the game of him too, but there's nothing during the
Dude,
game.
I go back and forth because it's like one of those things where he might have had like 70, and then someone asked him on the street, and it was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude, he must have scored like 100 points," and then
Yeah.
everyone just.
But
goes
he's holding the
around
paper
with it.
though.
I know why would, but then he could have been joking. Like you never know.
Oh,
like, it's just
okay.
like-
Maybe like we got Centelled in the 1950s, but no one knew what Centel was yet.
the OG.
Yeah, it's the
sentence.
OG Centel.
All right, guys, the Masters starting today, round 1. Favorites, of course, Scotty Scheffler, Roy McIlroy, Ludwig Oberg, Xander Schauffele, Jack.
not big.
Ludwig's our guy.
Where are you? Who do you think is going to win the Masters?
Man, I'm going with Colin Morikawa is going to be my pick this year to win the Masters. Guy right now currently leading this season in tee to green, like how fast he's getting on there, like the amount of strokes, how he's hitting the ball, and also as well. So the issue with him in his past is that Morikawa is a big, likes to be in the top group as we hit Sunday, like playing for it at the end of the day, and he always kind of teeters off, like supposed to be in that bottom or last four group, tends to finish like I have it right here. In the Masters, he was final group, finished 7th overall last time around. PGA finished 6th overall. So he's had some issues finishing it off, but I don't know. Looking through these guys, there's a lot of guys with injuries, like Scotty Scheffler cut his hand, I believe, making ravioli last year, and he's been a bit off putting since then.
Wait, who was that?
Scotty Scheffler. So he has an injury. Who was the other big one? Xander Schauffele, number 2 golfer in the world last year. He had a rib injury that he's kind of been a bit shaky since then. So it's a weird year because you have kind of those 2 big storylines going on as well. But I mean, Scotty could win 3 or 4 too, so it'd be pretty damn cool.
Ravioli.
Is this the year we see a live golfer win the Masters? Either Rahm, DeChambeau, somebody else.
I mean, I'm going to talk like a puppet right here because I'm only repeating what Mr. Jimmy Hanlon told me about this event. But if you're a betting person towards the Masters, like he said, the live guys are the best guys to try and get odds on because like they're not as, I don't know, well tracked or kept, or it's hard to compare them back to the PGA guys. But yeah, I mean, the 2 guys who are highest up are John Rahm, who won the Masters just 2 years ago, and Bryson DeChambeau, who has never won the Masters. Actually, has never really tended to do that well at the Masters, but he's always a popular pick because of how well he drives the ball. So yeah, those 2 guys are really interesting specifically.
I bet John Rahm.
Or lefty Phil.
Because that's what Jimmy kind of said to do on the Big Play Cleveland show, so I went with Rahm. I think that's a good when you're betting on golf, you're picking like it's as good as any. You know, you're really making a guess. I've never been a big Masters guy. I've never really been a big watch golf on TV guy. I follow along with it on my phone, follow along with my bets on my phone. I'll watch, the last day on Sunday, but like I'd be lying to you guys to say, if I told you like once the show ends, I'm going to go pop out in the lounge and watch the first round. I got a bad
admission
couple guys that tee off like last year I was interested because like it was last year Scotty got arrested before.
Oh yeah.
So, that wasn't the Masters though. That was the Players.
That was a different major, but that was Scotty won it last year. I'll go with Xander Schauffele. Is it Schauffele?
Schauffele, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll go with Xander Schauffele. Rob, want to throw a dart on anyone?
Not a huge golf guy, but give me Rory McIlroy.
His
all
first
right,
Masters.
getting off the pine.
The eluded green jacket for Rory McIlroy.
I used to bet I shout out fellow 1230 birthday, Tiger Woods. I used to throw a $10 dart at Tiger Woods to win the Masters every year, even before gambling was... statute of limitations. There's some offshore activity going on.
They're about to start knocking on the door.
Yeah. The SUV. I'm going to see the black SUVs pull up into my house later. Could we see some of those Cash App Bitcoin statements, please? But anyways, I'm glad that this year I won't have to donate $10 to the Tiger Woods Fund.
Can I say the worst thing about it for me, man? Like I love golfing now. Like I've started to actually golf myself, but even I'm going to sound like a total loser here as a sports fan. Even on like Sunday of these big tournaments, like I can't do it, to be honest. It gives me zero interest, no matter how close it is or how I can't watch it.
I'm the same. Well, like I'll watch literally the last hole, and it was kind of like a tradition in my house to watch them put the jacket on. So that's obviously like an iconic thing. You see the last year's Masters champion give the green jacket to whoever wins it this year. So like I'll watch that, but that's about the extent of how much golf that I consume throughout the year. By the way.
I have a great ending question for you guys. So as everyone knows, the Masters dinner is one of the biggest deals. Like the previous year's winner gets to come back in, hang out with his jacket, pick out the appetizers, the big meal, the dessert, everything. If you guys won the Masters, what would your meal be?
I'm going straight kids menu. Like I'm pissing off everybody else. I'm going appetizers.
Minecraft.
Pretty much. Appetizer, mozzarella sticks. Must. Main course, we're going straight cheeseburgers and fries. Load them boys up like Burger Bar, so you could do the lettuce, onion, tomato, pickles, whatever
Spicy
people want.
mustard.
Fries. Honestly, we could go waffle fries. We could go smiley fries. Kind of let people make their pick. Milkshake. And then, I don't know, some sort of double chunk chocolate cookie for dessert or something like that.
I think Augusta's a little too bougie for smiley fries.
All right, waffle fries then.
I don't know if they'd allow them.
No, they allow everything. They're pretty clean about getting the guys that they want.
I didn't know that. I'll be honest. Like I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, it's it's like their big deal. I think Scotty had a cool dessert. He had like chicken fried steak, and then he did
That
like
sounds insane.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
it was like a chocolate chip cookie skillet with vanilla ice cream. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna steal Scotty's dinner, and his app was mini sliders.
Mini Sliders is a good app.
Yeah, that
It's
sounds
tough.
delicious. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. We didn't get to JoJo Siwa and who's it, Mickey Rourke.
Can we do Joshua Block at least?
Yeah, we have to.
We
'cause
have
This
to.
is breaking news.
Because it's already old now.
All right,
Yeah, this is
let's do it
breaking
then.
news,
Yeah,
and
let's-
especially because
I don't know anything about this.
We've had him in here. We'll keep it quick, kind of bring Ryan up to speed. Joshua Block had this trip planned, you know how he does, about a week, that he's going to Dubai. Was hyping it up a ton, going to Dubai. For those of you that don't know, Dubai, pretty strict place.
Oh, yeah.
You can't hold hands with your significant other in Dubai. Like no PDA is public displays of affection is against the law in Dubai, as is public intoxication. And if you know anything about our buddy World of T-Shirts, Joshua Block, we had him in here in studio. Go check out that interview in the Big Play app. That's kind of his whole thing. Is he drinks a lot and he bumbles around the streets of New York and the streets of wherever he decides to vacation, completely blacked out. So raised a lot of eyebrows that this guy was going to go to Dubai. Jack?
I'm very sad to report that the captain was not able to make it into Dubai. I believe he was deported, actually.
The captain was deported.
At the border before he got in, which let me say I think is probably the best move for all parties involved. Like kind of like in a way how our time with Joshua Block when he was in Cleveland was probably cut short, but it was like the perfect amount of time. Like this probably was the best thing for all parties involved that he did not actually go boots on the ground, because that would have ended in, I mean, what kind of deal are we looking at for President Trump to get him back?
It would have had to be similar to like
The Merchant of Death?
when
Jello
Trump,
ball
Yeah.
when Trump tweeted out like "Get home ASAP." Like we're looking at that sort of pull that we would need to
All
get
right, so-
get Trump on the blower to get Joshua Block back. Like the Saudis seriously did World of T-Shirts a massive favor, and when he gets back, like if you know anything about Joshua Block, he is going to be absolutely furious about
yeah.
this. But like, like he's going to threaten to sue the entire country, the entire continent, the entire Middle East,
Maybe
like,
the world.
Yeah, World of T-Shirts is coming after as a result of this. But little does he know, like they did him a massive favor, because like. You don't want to spend a night and you're not spending a night in Saudi prison. Like they're throwing you straight in the gulag.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, real last point. I apologize, Ryan. This was back to the Masters. Guy on that sheet that we have in there, dark horse for this tournament, real dark horse. Angel Cabrera, right? Won the Masters, and I believe it was 2009, but has not participated since the 2019 Masters, guys. Back in the tournament this year in 2025, after spending 4 months in the prison of death in Argentina. I don't know totally what he did. I believe it had something to do with a domestic abuse with one of his exes. So like, it's definitely a rougher thing. And obviously the Masters in general have always kind of had a slower history of being progressive, I think is the nicest way to put it. So yeah, he's back out there and he's going to be playing this weekend. And he was in the prison of death like under a year ago.
That would be quite the comeback.
That's
He's a
an
2-time
incredible
majors winner.
story.
Yeah.
How we could probably get this guy on the Factor.
What are his
Just be
odds?
like,
What?
My sprinkle 10 on those. What are his odds?
To return to jail plus 500, to make the cut plus 600.
All right, well, better odds of
Oh,
going
they
to
don't
jail
even
than
need to
playing
make
day
the
3 and
cut.
4 in the Masters.
He was in jail.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Huge thanks to Garage Beer. Huge thanks to Fairway Ford, Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson.
Rob in
popping
studio.
on. We'll
I'm
be back.
remote tomorrow, and barring anything unforeseen, I'll be joining you guys from the beautiful home office that I have.
Can't blame you. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Same people, same time. Peace.